Enough is enough. There is no longer any way to defend this. There is no longer a way to defend Deion Sanders. I mean, how can you defend the indefensible? And I am not talking about what happened on the field Saturday night. For reasons unknown, the networks, they continue giving Colorado valuable airspace in prime time. Perhaps they are doing this as some weird form of punishment. Maybe they are doing this to Colorado so the entire country can watch them continue to be a huge embarrassing failure. This weekend, it was a painfully boring weekend in college football. Outside of Michigan, Texas, there really wasn't any other marquee games. I think the only other ranked teams who actually played each other were Notre Dame and something called Northern Illinois. I think their mascot is the Salukis or the Sadukis or who knows? Who cares? Since there was a serious lack of big games this weekend, I decided to punish myself by watching Colorado, Nebraska on Saturday night. Now, I wasn't home when the game kicked off, but by the time I turned it on, they were in the middle of the second quarter. 5 seconds later, I changed the channel. The Fighting Deions, they were already down 28-0, and the game was essentially over. At this point, this program in Colorado, it is an absolute embarrassment. And I hate saying that because I really do like Deion Sanders. Growing up, he was one of my favorite athletes. I was a big fan of the Atlanta Braves growing up. This was during a time when Major League Baseball was actually entertaining. And I can still remember during the '92 World Series, Deion Sanders was absolutely dominant. Even though he was a huge embarrassing failure last year at Colorado, I got to admit, I'm guilty of biting into the shit sandwich. I thought Deion Sanders was capable of turning things around and revitalizing this dump of a program. But instead, all Deion Sanders has done is turn this dump into a landfill. And I'm starting to wonder if Deion Sanders actually wants to be a football coach. I'm starting to wonder, and I hate to question his motives, but I'm really starting to wonder if Deion Sanders is coaching football or if he's trying to turn his son into a superstar. If you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. The link for the newly launched second channel in the description below. I appreciate all you guys who have already subscribed and are supporting the second channel. I believe we are getting close to 1,000 subscribers just in the past couple of days. I'll be on the second channel later tonight. We're going to be talking about Mark Cuban potentially tanking season ticket sales for the Dallas Mavericks. So click the link in the description below. Make sure you're subscribed to the second channel. Now, it is no secret that the Fighting Deions are rapidly reaching the pinnacle of huge embarrassing failure. It is no secret that this program is an absolute disaster. When things are not going well, you get a really good glimpse into the character of your leaders. Last season, the offensive line took most of the blame for the failure of Shedeur Sanders. I remember Daddy Deion in a press conference threatening to replace the entire offensive line if they didn't learn how to block for his baby boy. Instead of taking accountability, they just decided to blame everyone else. But over the offseason, Deion Sanders once again used the transfer portal to replace damn near his entire roster. This is year 2. Meaning the team that's on the field, this is Deion Sanders' team. These are the players that he selected. Saturday night, Shedeur Sanders, he once again looked like complete shit. On paper, his stat line was decent, but I don't care how many yards you throw for. You can throw for 2,000 yards in a game. If those 2,000 yards only result in 10 points and your opponent scores 28, you failed. But the loss Saturday night, it was not Shedeur Sanders' fault. No. Why take the blame? Why take accountability when you can publicly throw your offensive line under the bus? Watch for yourself.
I mean, how many times did Rowley get touched?
You said what?
How many times did Rowley get touched? They was able, like, of course, whenever you able to run the ball consistently, and whenever you able to, then that opens up the pass, you know. But it's just like you gotta understand like what your team good at. So it's like, why would we keep running the ball if we are we out there and we get in a situation where it's a must get and we don't get it? We're gonna go down. I'd rather go down swinging, honestly, because I know I could throw the best punch.
This is who ESPN claims is a top 10 pick in the draft? This kid? Really? Look, I am not a scout. I have no idea how to determine whether or not a college quarterback is qualified to play in the NFL. Hell, the people who do this for a living struggle with it because a lot of these top quarterbacks, they end up being bust. But when I look at Shedeur Sanders, both on and off the field, I don't see an NFL quarterback. I've watched a lot of press conferences in the decades that I have been following the NFL and the NBA. You know what the greats do in press conferences after losses? You know what franchise quarterbacks do when they lose a game? They take accountability. Most of the time, they blame themselves. There were many years in New Orleans, damn near all of them actually, where Drew Brees was not the problem. From 2014 to 2016, Drew Brees was arguably the best quarterback in the league. Offensively, the Saints were unstoppable. But all three of those years, Saints went 7-9 because the defense was atrocious. You know how many times Drew Brees publicly blamed the defense after a loss? None. Does the offensive line in Colorado suck? Absolutely. But the only thing throwing them under the bus publicly is going to do is ensure that they let your ass continue to get hit. Like I said earlier, I am really starting to wonder if Deion Sanders wants to coach football or if his true goal is to turn his son into a superstar. Well, KC, what's wrong with that? He is trying to get his son drafted. He wants him to realize his dream of being an NFL quarterback. Maybe, possibly even, probably. But the type of superstar I'm wondering about is Deion Sanders wanting his son to be a rap star. Saturday night, after the Fighting Deions were humiliated again on national television, an interesting report was published by Denver Sports. They noticed that after Shedeur Sanders scores a touchdown, which is becoming increasingly rare, the Colorado band, they don't play the school fight song. Normally in college football, when a team scores a touchdown, the band plays the fight song. Doesn't matter which player scores, same song is played. But in Colorado, the standard operating procedure, it's a bit different. If Travis Hunter scores a touchdown, they play the fight song. If anyone not named Shedeur Sanders scores a touchdown, they play the fight song. But if the chosen one scores a touchdown, the song is different. According to Denver Sports, Deion Sanders has demanded that the band sit silently if Shedeur Sanders scores a touchdown. There will be no celebration. There will be no beating of the bongo. He doesn't want to see the school mascot Barney Buffalo storm onto the field. Reason being, Deion Sanders, he wants the entire crowd to listen to the PA system as they play one of Shedeur Sanders' shitty rap songs. What? Excuse me? First of all, I didn't know that Shedeur Sanders was a rapper. Hell, the kid's barely a quarterback. Might be a good idea to focus on being elite at one thing before trying to be elite at something else. Initially, though, I was thinking that maybe Deion Sanders was doing this to hype the crowd. Maybe his son is a talented rapper and his music would inspire the crowd to get loud. But then I actually listened to his music. If you think I'm full of shit, if you don't believe anything else I say, do yourself a favor and trust me when I tell you, this is one of the worst songs I have ever heard. I thought Meg Stallion was bad. Shedeur Sanders, worse. I know a lot about rap music. I damn sure know the difference between talented rappers and pure garbage. If I were Deion Sanders, I would be encouraging my son to drop the rap and focus on being a quarterback. It is absolutely inexcusable that Deion Sanders is using the football program at Colorado to promote his son's rap career. It is inexcusable that he has been given that kind of power. This is not Nick Saban. This isn't James Franklin, who has never won a national title, but he is a proven winner at Penn State. We're not talking about a coach with a proven track record of winning. We are talking about a coach that went 4-8 last season and might be lucky to win 4 games this season. Deion Sanders has turned Colorado into his own personal shit show. This is a disaster. This team lacks leadership. There doesn't appear to be any camaraderie. Seriously, feels like the only goal in Colorado is making Shedeur Sanders a star. Now, in his defense, Deion Sanders does play songs over the PA system that were written or performed by other players. For example, I guess the kicker is a musical artist. Whenever he kicks a field goal or an extra point, they will play some doofus song that he wrote. My question is this a football program? Is this a football team? Or is this American Idol? Is this a football team or is this Rhythm and Flow on Netflix? It's been confirmed that Colorado has wannabe music artists on the roster. The question is, do they have actual football players? Do they have kids who want to play football? It is just one thing after another with this program. Just when you think it can't get any worse, it does. I am telling you right now, Deion Sanders, he will not be coaching in Colorado next season, and it won't be because he gets fired. He won't be coaching at Colorado next year because Shedeur Sanders, he will no longer be playing there. And Deion will not be following him to the NFL. Unlike Colorado, NFL teams, they are in the business of winning. They are not in the business of finding the next American Idol. Give me your thoughts on this. Shedeur Sanders publicly shames his offensive line. Deion Sanders is playing his doofus rap song on the rare occasions that he actually scores a touchdown. I mean, what the hell's going on here? Does Deion Sanders want to be a football coach, or does he just want his son to be a star? You tell me. Sound off in the comments below. Like, subscribe, share the video. Appreciate your support. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.